Good evening, pirates, and welcome to TFC Open Mic Season 3. This is episode 7. What do we call this one? I call this one Bishop's Banter, which sounds pretty pornographic, but there we go. Yeah, so we're in the middle of Bishop's Rock. It's the February raid event. It's the second of the season of 4. And the lovely panel here, we're going to discuss a little bit about it. And obviously, any points that you've got, the guys that are in the live chat there, please obviously post them up. Ford's in there moderating, so he'll pick up some bits and bobs as well. So he'll let us know if there's anything of interest. Okay. First and foremost, as ever, let's say good evening to everybody. Here we've got from my right, your left, I believe it is. So Venom, good evening, mate.
Good evening.
Good to see you. Hulk, how are you, mate?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Ren's in. Hey, bud.
Hello!
As happy as ever. Hey, Peter.
How do?
How you doing? And Mary, how you doing, buddy?
Great.
Sound enthused. Hefe.
Howdy, everybody.
How you, mate? And Brian on the lonesome end there by himself, look.
Oh, Valentine's Day was enough of a reminder. Oh.
Sorry, mate. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's.
Picture yourself going. Right? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we've got a few in chat. Rum's in chat there. I'll post a link up in case any more want to jump in. We've got a couple of slots there. We'll just throw it in there. Look. Yeah. There's quite a few people actually. Jenny's in as well. Wow, Jenny actually made it. Okay. I have to send Jenny a personal invite now because she can never work out the difference between Brisbane time and Sydney time. I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but it's her own country for goodness sake. But I can work out Kickside time, UK time. But yeah, well, she's obviously chilling out too much down there. Anyway, right. Let's have a look. Hey, Rum, how you doing?
Good. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good.
Good.
Open mic is the normal thing, but what we're going to do this time, okay, we're just going to share a few slides just to get things in the flavour of, of what's happening at the moment. So this is us. Nice graphic I got sent there from GDR, which is pretty decent. Obviously, and that's the new Inferno Dragon, okay, which we'll talk about in a moment. So, yeah, so I thought before we go into the raid, we'll look at this because I think this is quite a really important slide. Hey, Emery, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, mate. Okay. So this sort of bombshell dropped us in the middle of the week, just a little bit around about 10 minutes before the Wednesday show went out live. So GDR's sort of like mind sort of like dump of how he feels things are going to progress in 2018. I mean, we don't need to talk too much about what's on the slide, but let's talk about your thoughts of what he's put, in his post. Positive, negative, what are you looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to? Who wants to open up?
I think it's a great idea, and it's about time.
Yeah.
Here.
Give us an opportunity to build the things we want to do, put the builds back in the players' hands instead of having cookie cutter stuff. It's about time. And it seems like they're starting to listen. And again, if you notice that little picture up in the right-hand corner seems to say it all. What GD Raken does is good for the game.
It does seem that way. I'm just hoping he's allowed to do what he sort of knows needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've always known he's passionate about the game, and we've had him on a couple of times where he's been a bit deflated, and I think it's because he's been frustrated more than anything else, not with the player base, but mostly with the inability and being allowed to get on with things, So.
Well, it almost seems like they were holding him down. They weren't allowing him the freedom to do what he needed to do to make it better.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I mean, obviously it's a company in its own rights. It's got obviously its profit margins and all that sort of stuff. But he is back anyway, and he's back with a boom as far as I'm concerned. So PvP, interesting developments, and we can look at that in a minute. With the first tier 7 turret as well to look at in a moment. But on the PvE side, so this is our last cycle of 2 ships, tons of targets, and it'll make things like TLCs a lot easier in the future, don't you think?
Yes, much easier. We're not going to run into the situation where people who've only built one of the PvE hulls will be locked out of getting prizes because they didn't build the second one. A bit like the last TLC that came out. But it's fantastic news for everyone, and we don't have to build as much anymore now, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I worked it out to be 15 ships less in your dock for a year, ideally. But I also worked out that means, you know, that infamous flipping, don't build the wrong ship, because then all of a sudden you can't do this TLC and then you're locked out of the game, and then what do you do? So they've either got to give it to you or sell it to you or try and do something else, and not everybody buys their way through this game. So it's, yeah.
But with that, the wrong ship was either ship. If you wanted everything in the TLCs, you had to build both. The thing is, I'm more concerned about is map targets. I know they just released the Scourge targets onto the map, and then they pulled 2 of them, and the third one is still terribly biased against the Hunters, which a lot of people got because it's auto and it's easy. So they weren't even designing the map targets well for these sorts of things, where we need uranium, titanium, and base parts. If you build the wrong hull, it's very hard for you to get the appropriate resource. So they needed to look at that too, and this is a good way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a conundrum. It's going to take a while. We're in a bit of a conundrum now, because as you said then, you know, Hunters, great, okay, it's the supposed blitzer, but it's goddamn weak, it's goddamn slow, it's got crap res hull, you know, it can't bring home hardly anything at all, hardly fix itself when it's dead. It's not the best of ships. You know, when we had things like the Tide Seekers, which seem to go on and on forever, sort of, I don't know. Unless I built mine that stink, I don't know, maybe I have.
No, mine too. I tried every different build I could think of, and they still just were crap.
I've given up on worrying about them now, to be honest. I'm just like, I only do the level that I have to do, and everything else I use subs. Which is a bit of a sort of like a defeated strategy, I suppose. I give in, invest all that time in building the damn things, but I'm very underwhelmed with them, to be honest, personally. That's just me. I don't know.
And I
went from the Skyfires to those, and it was like a complete opposite end of the spectrum. But now we're back to, you know, kind of Skyfire type ships, and they're great.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, the hull is fine, and the damage. I think it's the weapon. I don't think the weapons recycle fast enough, because they do a lot of damage when they hit. They just don't seem to hit as often as I'd like them to hit, and I think it's more recycle time. If they could halve it, I think we'd make a completely different transition, because obviously with that type of hull, you know, you're waiting for obviously, you know, certain subs not to flipping, you know, not to put the death effect on you and that sort of stuff. What do they call that when it goes into a Thorns effect, isn't it? That's it. You know, when that Thorns effect hits, and then all of a sudden you're getting, you know, given damage whether you like it or not, sort of stuff. You know, but that's because you're waiting for recycle time to flipping shoot somebody's ship. So, it's very frustrating. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, if you're happy, so I mean, I like the fact that, you know, whole retrofits are going to come back. First ones are going to be obviously our current garrison fleet. That's quite handy. You know, we're going to get some ice. The icebreakers could definitely do a bit of a loving. I mean, they're like paper, aren't they? Those things.
Yeah.
Good firepower, but they're like made of glass. And you know, if you can do 2 or 3 of the FM15, I mean, over Christmas that was horrendous, wasn't it? So get those sparked up a bit more. That'd be quite nice. But monoliths, yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to do about monoliths. Are they going to give a lot more power or something like that? I mean, don't know what they're going to do with the retrofitting, but it'd be interesting to see.
They need to do something with the Empyrean as well. I feel like it's been left behind a little bit.
Yeah, the generalist one, yeah.
Because it was a fantastic hull during the raid. It was just fantastic, but it's just fallen so far behind with them fixing everything else, but leaving the Empyrean in the back, just ignoring it. So they definitely need to fix them up as well while they're doing the Icebreaker and Monolith.
Yeah, I mean, they reload fine, don't they? And they had the right number of weapons on them. There's nothing wrong with the actual builds themselves. Maybe it's just they need a boost of building damage or something like that. I'm not sure. Because the reload seems quite quick, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's little tweaks on it. But
yeah, I don't think it needs to be a massive tweak, but
no.
Is that already retrofittable? It's not, is it? I don't think it is.
No, it's not. Not last I checked.
Maybe that's something to take away and let people have have a play with and see if they'll do that one as well under the retrofit lab, because that could, yeah, I agree with you. It definitely needs a little bit of something.
I know I'd retrofit the Empyrean. I loved that thing during the last Garrison raid.
Yeah, I love mine.
Well, I know someone's been, definitely using 3 of those and 2 Zealous, and that's their FM fleet. So
yeah, I'm thinking of scrapping my Empyreans just to get the charged armor free for the new ship.
that's an idea, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't think about that. But it's always hate scrapping ships. I mean, I have to scrap a lot of ships.
But I already have 3 FM fleets. I mean, I have the Monos, I have the Empyreans, I have 2 Zealous tanks, and I have the Icebreakers. And guess what? Every week, all I use are the Icebreakers because the other ones are too much hassle.
Yeah, I still like my Icebreakers, especially for collecting uranium. I love them for that. They're my best go-to fleet for that sort of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so look, PvE is getting a good lick, which is nice. He's polished up the. Bit of spit and polish on the PvE stuff is come around sooner than I thought. I didn't think we'd get it straight away, but it's great. So April is the time. So we've got 2 more raids basically of this, and then we're going to go straight into a single hull. But as it says, just beware, there won't be the give it to you in the last of this format. We'll have to wait. So it won't turn out, because obviously it's going to be, if you're only building 1 ship, then we're going to have to wait until it's actually out in the first one of the new cycle. So we'll have to take into things, and then they'll slow the delivery down, which is nice, which means, as he said, they'll be able to build the targets in a bit more slow time and have a bit more prep to make something look decent. Anyway, right. Okay, moving forward. Yeah, so in this current raid, this is one of the big updates, isn't it? So our first tier 7 turret is in. Who wants to lead on this one? I know someone's been hit by it. Or is hitting with it, should I say? Aren't they, Venom?
Yeah, I got hit yesterday, and I have 1 of these in, and for my base, 1 was enough to shut down a level 300 plus fleet easily. You have to have the right specials and the right faction, but when you've got everything lined up, so that it can be used properly, it will do so much damage. It is ridiculous. And I've already seen most of the top players just stop hitting anyone with these in it, because it's slightly overpowered, but that's what you kind of come to expect at this point.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's the first one to. I mean, do you think it's nice the fact that you can build it with base parts?
That is fantastic. It was one of the best things I've seen lately from the game. That it's not that stupid 30-day build that was just completely ridiculous. It's decent build time, and you don't really have to worry about anything now. It's just equip it and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So once you've earned it, you can just equip it rather than earning it, spending the time and money to earn it, and then spending more time and more money to put it on. So it is good. It's just, in my opinion, the wrong time for it to be out. It's going to make Bounty a little bit odd again.
Yeah. Someone was saying, actually, because always the Boulderfist is out in this this raid as well, and they're going, "Oh, do you think it's a viable hull?" I mean, well, look at the deflection you can get up onto it, and then look at the new turret, and then make a decision yourself. It's not hard math to work out, but I thought for this we just have a look at a couple of builds really, and that's so obviously there's the new obviously special as well over on the left hand side. Notice that obviously there's one special, there's the SS kit thing we can't put on at the moment. Now they're looking into that. I don't think they're going to fix it, but there's definitely a sort of an idea with the engineers and designers to see if it's done on purpose or not.
It wasn't intentional. It's already in the test environment, and they're planning to next update to allow you to put that on.
Yeah, I mean it's. It's a special. I'm surprised that it didn't, because it doesn't make a huge. I mean, I was playing around with it in the turret builder that we've got on the TFC webpage, and it doesn't make it so much more of a powerful if you were permitted. But as it stands at the moment, these are sort of like, I've got two builds here. So this one here is kicking out obviously 885 damage, obviously, and the nice thing about this turret is obviously only split by 2. So whatever raw power you're getting there, plus obviously the attack modules you can get around it, and the bonuses from the specials as well, you've only got to split it in half, which isn't too bad. And as Venom was saying, the faction that you choose as well can make a difference, but be cautious on which factions you pick, because sometimes you can upset the rest of what's in your base as well at the same time. So yeah, so attack modules are going to help this one. Same sort of number again as obviously the Epic Cat Mort, but it's got more impact on here because obviously it's greater amount of damage over less salvo. So even a couple of attack modules will make a big difference.
Yeah,
but anyway, there are 2. Yes, sorry, go
on. The turret defense specials on a ship. So actually, you're dividing that number by 4.
Oh, sorry, say again. The turrets.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Yeah, if you put like a battery on your ship when you're attacking, you take half damage again. So you're actually dividing your total damage output by 4. And when it comes to the fire supports, your damage there isn't being factored in with the bonuses from your fire supports.
Yeah, he's just saying it's not showing up in that right-hand stat block.
Oh, as ever.
Up at the top. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That number is. You need to go in and look at your installation mods.
Installation mods. Yeah, they've made it separate down the bottom, which it does seem to be working for this turret, I must admit. You get 3 sets of data actually. So it's in the installation mods, and then there's another set down below. So I think on the installation mods it's like plus 75%, and then there's one further down again, which is about plus 60%. You know, based on whatever you've put together, sort of stuff. So there's quite a bit of you know, additive sort of effects to this thing. So, but as it stands at the moment, yeah, and as was said in the chat there, the SSKP obviously would allow you to hit subs. That's a good thing about it, because the there are a couple of other specials which are quite good at underwater sort of like detection, but and retargeting, but they're not permitted as it stands at this moment. But I'm sure they will square those away. This one here then with a range of 31, it hasn't got the highest firepower. Okay, he says, and for one turret that's quite a lot of firepower. But yeah, so it's 31 boost on that one there, and the next one then I was going to have a look. Is this one here then? This one's got a little bit less. Okay, and this one's only 25, but obviously the power's up to raw power is up to 996. And that's the AT transformer on there. Obviously, if you want to go ATR, you can obviously up your distance, but obviously down in your power as well. So it's up to you. You get to play around with it. There are 4 or 5. If SSKP comes back in, then there's going to be at least 4 or 5 different options for this thing. So depending on what you want to, you know, if you want to make the last ditch attempt and put it at the back of your island or somewhere out the way, so it's, if they do manage to break through the front line stuff and then let it smash away. The inner defense ring, I think it's like 24, isn't it? Something like that. It's quite low, isn't it?
25.
Yeah, it's really small.
Is it 25? Is it? It's quite small. I know that. And obviously, you know, it's one of those sort of turrets. It cannot be, you know, shot down by countermeasures. So it's gonna hit. Evade may make a bit of a difference, but at the end of the day, generally, this thing should land on target. To be honest. It's brought some interest back in the game, at least, anyway. So yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely going to get into the million mark for damage. You know, then obviously split it down to the
Please also note that
at
the bottom stat of that turret itself is a 25% penetrated damage bonus
for each.
It bonuses itself as well as the opposite one, so you're getting a 50% boost from having 2.
Yeah, and that's not written into the top stat.
That doesn't read in the top stat either.
So that's like just having another single salvo in each one.
Yep.
Which is pretty good. Oh, but across the 2, sorry. But yeah. So this is an interesting one. So it's a restricted turret, but there's a maximum build. Is it 8? I think it is, or something. Not that you probably ever want to go 8 and all in one, but it's.
Well, it's not a maximum build. It's a maximum aura cap as far as the stacking.
Yes, yeah, it's 8 or something like that, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, 8's correct.
So it stops that sort
I don't think the aura cap. I don't think the aura is limited to the Executioner 2 turret. It's an aura that affects all level 7 turrets. So if you have 2 of these, potentially, I think the next generation of level 7 turrets would have the same kind of aura, I suppose.
The way it read to me is tier 7 penetrative. There might be something like, if they come out with something like the, another penetrative tier 7, it would stack with that. But I don't think it stacks across the board as far as all tier 7s.
Oh, I mean, the bonus is useless for non-penetrative turrets. I think it actually stacks. So the moment you have 8 tier 7 turrets with this aura, or auras, I guess, I don't know, then you reach the cap. But you're right. It applies to other turrets, but will just be mute, because if they don't do penetrating damage, then it's a useless bonus.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a short range. I mean, this doesn't have a range limitation. It's of defense wide. So it's, if there's a later one that comes out that's got a really short range, if you stick it at the front line, then obviously these at the back line are going to boost the front line ones if they're level 7 and they're penetrative as well. So, this is number 1. So we don't know where we're going with this yet, but as the first, as a first indication of what we're about to receive this season, then it's quite interesting. As is the new armor that goes on it, but I wasn't really too worried about the armor. Anyway, so just a couple of seconds on those. So Executioner number 2, it's out, and it's our first, obviously, of the new turrets, which is good. Right. Clearly, we're going to the raid. Raid's on now. It's obviously starting Thursday, ends obviously on Monday, that sort of stuff. Bishop's Rock's its name. I'm trying to work out why it was called Bishop's Rock. I don't know, but I'm sure there's some logical reason for it. We know about the targets. We know what's happened to the targets, which I'm sure is concerning Brian at the moment, and a few others, particularly with Buccaneers. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the A set. Something's gone a bit goofy. But how's everyone's raid? How are we getting on? Give us some feedback.
It was fine. It was fine at the start, and the damage for some reason keeps going up instead of staying flat. So for me, it started at about 30 minutes for auto, and now it's up to 1 hour 30 minutes. So we've added additional hour, and it's been gradual. I've seen it occurring. Yesterday, sort of every couple of rounds, one of them would have a random amount of damage applied that wasn't normal. And when I checked the battles, I could not see where the additional damage was coming from. The Buccaneers boon would be at the normal damage for going through, and then near the end, all of a sudden, it would take a huge chunk of damage out.
Now, did you find it was near rad pools?
I found the majority of the time it was at that last sort of Wendigo turret.
Mm-hmm.
And when that rad pool, if it doesn't get shut down, it will take a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, same here. Brian, you were saying the same sort of thing as well, weren't you, mate?
Mine was in the 83s that actually usually take a ton of damage in the lower left corner, where there's the first group and the second group you encounter when you go on auto. And then the 85, I think the first group dealt a significant amount of damage, and so did the last group.
Yeah, it's the last group to the bottom right, isn't it? As she swings round. That's the one that seems to make a hell of a difference. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think it's partly dependent on builds too, and I've noticed something too, that maybe some of the servers going on, because my memory usage from Game Room has been going up exponentially since last night when I'm playing. And it's like a constant refresh.
So I've been checking damage throughout the raid, just with my bucks, $4, HNLC flag, on auto, and now it's no crew because I just want this data. I used to use demo squads, but now I don't. It's been on Thursday. I could do any A set target for instant repair split up in dock.
Yes.
Maybe
me
maybe
too.
1 minute or two more, but about 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes as low as 7. And on Friday, I got up in the morning and I hit 385s before I went to work. Total damage 90 minutes for 385s. This
Sorry,
morning,
so you said you did that in the morning. Was that before or after you had coffee?
I don't coffee.
Oh, so that
I
may
just
be the
don't.
problem.
Yeah, maybe you
Sorry,
should
Brad,
get
I'm kidding.
coffee.
So I need to give the captain's coffee. Okay, I'll put that into the budget.
Does he do Red Bull?
Oh God, no!
He's
No.
a student. Of course he does Red Bull. I mean, he was a student, graduated now.
No,
Yeah.
no, I never. No.
Start.
All he has is the quote unquote salt by his desk.
What salt?
Slightly weak cardiovascular. If I do anything like that, I might die. Anyway, yeah. So 90 minutes for 3, right? This morning I got up, I hit an 85 and figured I'd just repair while I'm doing other stuff. 90 minutes for 185 this morning, just on auto, no cruise. Same as it was, 24 hours ago, the damage was tripled.
Yeah, something's wrong. It's the same in chat. Yeah, Nobby's just saying the same thing. Anything it ranged initially from 4 minutes up to 97 minutes on auto. It's random, isn't it? Is it the number of those things that the Phalanx Force shoots or doesn't shoot down, and then there's particularly when you seem to have to turn a corner, and then the rad is coming from like 2 directions, and if you're missing both of them, you're getting double fire pulls. Is it that? But it wasn't as bad on Thursday. I don't know what it is.
Mine's been pretty consistent the whole time. I mean, because the first few hours I had a little bit higher damage, but then later on Thursday, it was back down to instant repair for every single target. But then Friday and today, it's been back. It's just been back and forth between like 3 minutes repair and like 15 or 12 minutes repair maximum. But I did have one random target where I got like an hour and a half damage almost from an 83. But that's been the only outlier.
Yeah, it's like I explained to people, 1 out of every 200 targets has a Kraken in it. And if you get one of those, the Kraken just, destroys one of your ships or maybe all of them. That's what it is. It's the Kraken.
I know he's trolling, but that's actually kind of true. I've had an instant death in an 83.
Andrew did the same thing. He had an instant death as well.
Nobody has a better explanation. I'm sticking to my story. It's the Kraken.
I believe it.
There's a lot of people that have been autoing and then their ships decide to have a little dance in the bottom right corner as well. And if you don't catch it, then obviously they just keep going around and taking red damage, and then they just get wiped out. So
yeah, I noticed that too, where the ships they were heading to target, they killed everything behind it. It stopped. They all split and went backwards, as if there was something else behind them, and then continued back on the path they were going.
The Kraken is back.
It does sound like it is the Kraken. Be fair.
Might as well be.
Let's get some tinfoil hats out. Come on. Anyway, look, there is some definitely issues. I don't know what it is. It's weird because it's not consistent at all. It's not across every target. It just seems to be like several, and then it's hardly any, and it's back to several. It's been like it all day. Well, yesterday as well, but it's.
And I'm getting. So I've actually dropped to doing 60s because it's more efficient for me than doing 80s. Just like last raid. And I'm getting my fleets are splitting up a lot. Like they're all together and they get to a point, mostly 63s, and 2 ships will go off to the left and hit the things way on the other side, and 2 ships will go to the right and hit the turrets that are really close. Usually, on auto, a ship will try to hit the thing that's closest to it, go up to 95% of its weapon range, and then stop, and then just shoot until that thing is dead and move on. But I've seen so many just weird deviations from that all over the place in this raid. I don't understand.
Yeah, I've noticed that in the 63s, there's this one little, if I can better term, cove. It's got a turret cluster with, I think it's a War Academy near it. And every so often, the Buccaneers I'm using, if they're running on auto, they will stop just outside of weapons range of the War Academy, and they won't shoot at anything. I have to go in and manually move them up so that they start shooting again.
What's really odd is it was working fine at the very start. Like when I was doing it at the very start, it worked 100% of the time, almost always identical repairs. But now it's nowhere near that. It's all over the place. No.
Yeah, it's frustrating, I admit. It's a shame because actually, you know, prize. Someone's dying there. I don't know who that is. That's terrible.
Well, it wasn't me.
The you know, the price pool down the bottom side is decent. I'm very annoyed that the wording on the left and right tier, you know, in the main link to get to the restricted stuff, if you've got everything on one side, it said you have to click this or this. The word "or" means either to me, not both. I'm finding that really frustrating that you've still got to get both sides to get up. It just, we need to look at their wording because that is basically wrong. Because we said something on Tuesday and it went, oh yeah, it's this or that because it's got the word "or," and yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you mentioned that. Step away for a second, but also the left-hand prizes are the wrong price relative to the briefing. At least the original briefing. Yeah, because they're the same price on both sides. And originally with the briefing, it was like the Buccaneer started off at 15. It was a total of 30 instead of 40 for all three in the original briefing, but it's 40 in the game.
I think Ren's really seasick.
I'm playing Battle Pirates. I'm on my ships now.
Oh dear.
Goofball.
Yeah, but I mean, apart from that, I mean, you know, the other charge armors are a reasonable price. You know, the charge C is 4, so you know, second rated, it's not too bad. You know, for those that want to, you know, get a bit more. I still don't think 5 is enough. It'd be nice if we could have some more. I've still not got enough now for all my ships for both fleets, but that's just me being greedy. I was hoping to put a couple of, you know, if it was going to be 10, I was going to put one each on the ironclads because I still like them. They're plugging away doing the 60s by themselves, and I'm not even looking at them. So they're good fun, those things.
The ironclads are better at doing their intended targets than the Bucks are at doing theirs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they are, and I've only got 3 as well. I'm only using 3 like, and they're doing fine. So flagging 2 others, they're doing all right. But yeah, so turret, and the other thing, obviously, on the right hand side is the new, obviously FM hull, which pleased or not pleased to see. I don't know. What do you think?
Icebreaker 2.0.
I hate range creep. But I like everything else about the hull. It's really simple. There's really high deflections, and I actually like that there is not a stackable aura for like resistances and such, so you don't have to worry too much about, oh, you need all 5 or you take tons of damage. The field is an enemy debuff, like the Fangtooth. They take damage and, well, no, I guess because it lowers the enemy damage of their turrets. Although that then makes me wonder about, because your range is 105, the aura's range is 95. Are there going to be turrets in the middle of their range of about 100, let's say? And is it going to be a question of, do I go in and reduce the damage? Or
this is no kiting hull. This is definitely not a kiting. This is a blitzer.
It looks really
They keep saying that, but if you get too close to anything, like the red rocket-ish turrets on the current 115s, if you get close enough to that, you're still going to get chunked for hours of damage.
Yeah, I mean, although it's funky looking and that sort of stuff, and the effects look great, you know, you may as well just treat this as a souped up version of a icebreaker, you know, and drive it and treat it the same. It's going to need countermeasures without a doubt. There's bound to be a flag to come out, just because of the very type of the ship. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks good. You know, it's interesting that they've made the range up to 105, like say for a rocket ship. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I would just like some clarification. I mean, previously we were getting hulls, and we were always told that this hull is going to be good for 1 year. And with the schedule that's coming out, this hull looks like it's only going to be a relatively top performer for 4 months. So I want a little bit of potential clarification. Is this going to work well with the other hulls that come out? Are they all going to work together in some sort of synergy? Because the other thing I noticed is if you put that special on, it's the same, if the engine that goes with this, it's the same speed as a Speed System 5, Monolith, and Zelos. Not Speed System 6, but Speed System 5. They're the exact same speed. So I'm still, there's some things in there that make me think you don't need to build 4 or 5 of them, that it's supposed to work with the other ones. The first one being that they told us all the hulls were going to be, whatever for a year. And then combined with that speed similarity, this also looks like it has potential being a spotter with the long range. There's just a few things out there that I would just sort of like to get a vision of how the whole FM thing is going to work moving forward. Or are we going to have to build a FM fleet that, like this one, takes 17 days if you put charged armors on it? If you build 5 of them, it's about 3 months, and it's a 4-month cycle. And I just wish I knew more, is what I'm saying.
I mean, my gut feeling, and don't forget, it's always based around the super coiners, is they're releasing it in 2. You're going to build it in 3, use it in 4. That's when they expect you to use it, giving you 2 months to build it. That's what I'm thinking. And in 4 will probably come the flagship. Probably.
What I'm saying, when the flagship comes out, what I'm saying is they're going to change the targets again.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. I don't know, because you're talking obviously,
What I know is that they're going to do like a rolling progression. So what they're saying is like, okay, the targets we have on map today won't go away. It's not going to be like a clean break as they did in the previous 2 cycles where, next month we're replacing all FM targets, right? And then, Citadel suck now or whatever. This time they're just going to keep adding a new top target every 4 months. And what's not clear to me, I mean, it is for the short term. Like GDR said, they're not going to change the payouts of the existing targets for the time being. That's the part I don't like. But then, then the new target is going to pay more than 150. So it means the incentive to build this hull is to shorten the grind of completing FM. Now, the way they changed the FM, and that's the part I've always hated about the changes they made back in November, October, whenever, is they can promise you, we're not going to change the payout, but they can keep inflating the price of the prizes you have to get. So I don't know if they're just going to say, okay, new target designed for the Inferno, Dragon, whatever, is 300,000 points, but now new prizes are going to start coming out at 2 million point cost. I don't know.
But that's what I was hoping. I was hoping like the 115 would stay there, but drop its value down to the 111, and then bring a new 120 in, and the 120 will be the value of the 115. So there's no need to climb in price, for the items. We already know I had it at 115. Even if it takes you a few more, you still know how to do it. So yes, you haven't got the latest and greatest, and you're not hitting the top level target because it's quite different, but you're still being able to go, well, while I'm still building that, it's going to take me a bit longer, but I know my figure, I know how many I've got to do. A lot of people are still only hitting the 111s as opposed to hitting the 115s anyway.
I'm one of them. I do half of my FM, mostly, more than half on the 111, and just a few hits on 115s because it's too much damage on the icebreakers.
Yeah, I'm a little worried that they combined unintended design features together, and we're paying for it now. Like, we have to build 3 fleets in this raid cycle, I think, unless I am told otherwise, with a roadmap of when they're going to replace the garrison targets or what they're going to swap over when. We've got to build Bucks and Hydras and Inferno Dragons, and going forward, it's going to be better. but I hope they're going to go easier on us now, based on the fact that we have to build, 300 something days worth of hulls, not counting escalation refits, in 120 days, and that we will never have to do this again because we have to cram 2.5 days into a day.
And Brian, just on one thing you said, it's still not clear to me whether or not we're going to see escalation weapons, because that was a GDA thing. I don't know if now with GDR we're going to have escalations. I didn't hear anything one way or the other. All I know is we had some TLCs now with tokens galore and tokens everywhere and tokens in the raid for Buckies and Hydras and everything. So I think they're kind of trying to ease the pain of having to build 3 fleets, and already announced that next cycle is just 1. So I'm hoping, and that's the optimistic in me, just hoping that it's not going to be such a problem.
Yeah, I'm hoping too, but it makes me wonder because back to the first raid in the cycle, people were saying the autoloader wasn't doing so well and the man special was, and the only way that's possible is if these things have deflection. And as we know from the 106 or whatever it was, the very last S target in the last raid of the Skyfires, where you needed the Skyfires and the drones had charged.
Yeah.
So they're playing on damage per salvo because the charged armor drains that, and that's a way to tune for escalation. I don't know what it's going to be now. I mean, I'm hoping just like you. I just don't know, and I'm planning for it until I hear otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it's very much like PvP. The PvE tanker is going to take a little while to change course and get on its new sort of like heading. We are in that realms now. If we know what they want to do, and if they are permitted to do it, it's going to be a little interesting because, yeah, we have got these hook hang-ups of there are a certain amount of targets that are going to be on the map targets that are only going to be able to be used by certain ships. Does that mean that they're going to do like they did before and then give us like the Bucky, the TLC, where they basically gifted it to those that could just go and help somebody else, even if they didn't have the ships to finish themselves, someone could just go and help them out. That was probably one of the smartest things they've done in a long time. Maybe that has to happen again for the next one, a little bit down the line. Not necessarily now, obviously during the actual raid, because that wouldn't be right, but definitely a little bit later on when we get into map target time and that sort of stuff. Because it's definitely one way of just let them retain their players and ride through the bumpy couple of months they're going to have, and it is going to be a bit bumpy in PvE, definitely. But I can see by the summer it should iron itself out in the raid format, but it'll still be on a problem on the sea doing the obviously the things that we need to get for our our chores until the end of the season, really, to be honest. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Yeah, so there we go. So there's dragons are coming is what I sort of labeled it. So there's fire everywhere, and fire in in draconian targets, which is interesting. If you haven't seen the video for this one, then it's not that well published, but it is out there. It's had quite a few hits, but not many. But yeah, it's an interesting hull. So I just thought we'd have a look at a couple of builds and discuss those, really, because I know this is a section that Ren likes particularly. It's an interesting hull. Although it's not obvious, there are countermeasure slots or multiple slots that can fit multiple things, including countermeasures and weapons. Until the bear in mind, we are going into garrison still. So, and did you notice, obviously, so I'll go back. Did you notice in the video there, look, there's a little ship there in the left-hand side. In fact, there's several of them in the target. So clearly that thing's going to be firing missiles at you. As ever,
yeah,
there'll be
Mastodon, all right.
The beastie. Yeah, and obviously you're going to have some, some rockets in there to contend with, and there's going to be some mortars as well to contend with. So there's some sort of options there of a build, which is okay. And I've put this one up here because it's like a vanilla, like Ren's favorite sort of subject, vanilla build and that sort of stuff. Full of charge, and as he was saying there, recycle some of the old stuff and grab the charge and put it on. So this is laden with items that all help rockets do various different things, whether it be reload, whether it be output of damage for explosive. But I think this one's missing something particularly, and I think you basically really should be looking something along the lines of this. Noting that on that video there, the walls, they look really, really strong, like our level 10 walls. So I'm thinking the Gale would be a good idea on this one here. And, you know, particularly when this one here, it's ranked up nice and high. I mean, look at the wall damage. You're talking, you know, the percentage there. It's crazy. 1,418%. And building damage is 730, you know, 43. So it's quite a lot. While the actual raw damage is a bit lower than some of the other ones, the multiplication is obviously, when you add it all together, it does make a difference. I don't think these hulls need all weapons on all ships and that sort of stuff. And I think definitely when the hull comes out, the flagship comes out, we might have to do some refits. Ren, you were talking about evade and things, weren't you, as well?
No, I'm just like we discussed before, just waiting to see the target, because gotta see if evade matters, if reload is more important than higher splash and spread. You know, if extra speed is going to be important, because definitely this new guy is lower than the icebreakers, right? I think Hefe mentioned it's as fast as the Zealous and the Monos.
Yeah, it's got a combat speed of 59.
59, that's it, yeah, yeah. And there's no speed up without obviously putting weapons, different types of weapons. You can't really speed up any other than that. It doesn't have a stack two together, make it any faster thing. So
I mean, we can look at a few things that make sense, but it's, before we kind of have a target to test against, it's kind of academical, because it's just like your icebreakers. I remember initially my icebreakers had MX3 and yours had AA3. Yeah. And your build was better. So I refitted mine to AA3 and it took a lot less damage against the 111 and the 115. Yeah. So, like, is this guy going to require AA3? And, you know, what's the balance of charged armor? That's the kind of fine details we have no way of knowing now.
Yeah, I mean, this thing's got, you know, looking at the video, there was missiles firing at us as well. So, I mean, I've watched the video a few times now on principle. Do we have to go to you know, RA3 for in the armor instead of doing a mix? I don't know yet. But the suggested things those are things to look at. You know, these are suggested specials that work well and can stack together. So, you know, there's the Garrison X battery and that sort of stuff. You know, rocket reloading. You know, there's some good multiples there that you can put and get some crazy deals up. You know, rocket range is pretty fixed at 55. You know, but rocket reload there is 355. You know, and like I said, you've got building and wall damage to contend with. Those are the sort of things that you can. I mean, there is another one as well. This one's a little bit different. But, you know, wall damage up as well, building damage up again as well. And because obviously we're using the countermeasure load of 4 as well, then this one gets your countermeasures working. So you've got an awful lot more stats. Maybe this is the way to go on, or maybe just on 1 or 2 of them. I don't know.
Can I just flag one thing up there? There is a reload cap. So please be careful.
Yeah, the point 2, yeah.
At max rank, you may not need that full rocket reload.
No, you're going to. That's 4-second reload down to 1 at Scald. The reload cap is 0.2. You'd need about, I think it actually is just 400% rocket reload to hit that cap. My concern is because it's salvo and there's 5 salvo, you can't reduce the salvo count. So the time of I have fired rocket 1 to all the way through to 5 and then reload again and start firing rocket number 1 again, that's going to be interesting when you work that in with the reload. I'm going to have to go and do some math on that, but it's fun.
And Brian, I did some quick dirty math. I mean, not too detailed, nothing too detailed. And the V rocket we use today on the icebreakers actually has a very similar DPS to this new rocket for that reason you said, because the V rocket has a 2-second reload, you know, so and their damage against ships is very close. It's like within 500 gap from one to the other. This one has a lot more building damage and it has that secondary weapon, but the advantage is the V rocket gives speed. So I'm even thinking about mixing a few of them.
Oh, that's right. I forgot the rocket had a pack boom now.
Yeah, so this one's got an epic sort of like that's the I mean, I don't know, flaming fire effect sort of stuff. If we go quickly back to the
it's the Dragon Bane. Is the one named
Dragon Bane. Yeah, sorry. There we go. Yeah, so
it's Dragon Breath.
Dragon Breath. Yeah, so it basically
Breath, Bane, bitch, all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, Dragon Breath might be the bane of another dragon if it smells really bad.
Well, that's true. Morning Dragon Breath.
But I haven't been able to work out the range of it. Does it go as far as the firing only, or does it go all the way to the outside? Does it go to 105, or does it go to 90?
It goes outside.
It goes right past, so it goes the full range.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At least that's what I recall seeing on the ones that I have.
Yeah, I can't quite. Oh, you built some already. There's a surprise. You filthy coiner.
You're the filthy coiner, Mr. 128. Keep picking up a level a day.
Don't know what you're on about.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Oh, dear.
There's no fighting in the war room.
Yeah, you can't, yes. All friends in love and war. Right. Yeah, so look, anyway, there's some ideas. That was just my thoughts. And, just thought we'd knock some builds onto the page there and just give you some ideas. Recycling some earlier ships, like Ren has suggested, maybe the way ahead. But there are multiple things that are all related to to Garrison that are stacking quite well. So lots of different ideas there. If you don't want to go Garrison battery and you're looking for something else because you want to use another special, actually Siege battery 3 gives you almost the same sort of weight. Okay, doesn't give you the same obviously explosive damage, but it gives you the same weight. So there are other options. This isn't ideal, but like I say, you might want to put one on what we say with a countermeasure special. So your countermeasure got different ranges, one small and one large sort of stuff. I don't know. Some people like evade as well. You can knock that one off, take it off altogether, and put the evade 3 on instead. So that'll give you 50% boost on the evade. Some people like that in their ships. Don't know.
Did anybody think about the recondite rockets? The one that does that weapon salvo slowdown?
Yeah, 25%, isn't it, per rocket?
Yeah.
Does that affect?
But I really haven't seen it working. Have you?
Don't know. I've chucked a couple of my hopes in my base just as I hope it might work, but I thought it'd be ideal to go on that ship. But I have no idea if it does anything or not.
I've heard it works. I've heard it doesn't work. It's kind of like a hit and miss thing. I mean, the RNG factor, but
yeah.
I recorded multiple FM hits and I played them back at really slow, almost frame by frame, and I really can't see any difference in the Draconian carriers firing their UAVs any slower. I really don't see a difference.
I just hope we won't need the lockdown rockets to slow the, god tier whatever ships, the Mastodons in this case.
Oh, talking about that, everybody has been bitching about lockdown rockets never being available. I hope everyone's getting them in the raid because it's just $1 million.
Cheap. Yeah, go get them. They're great.
Venom.
Yeah. I'll say nothing.
I would say nothing if I was.
I bet it was the first prize a lot of people got.
Yeah, if you haven't got lockdown rockets, go and get it. It's a bit like there are. I've been have a couple of other specials as well that people have been dying to get, and they're available. So there are a few things in there, HVR and that sort of stuff in the previous as well. So there are some specials that are just worth having. There are some weapons that are just worth having. Doesn't matter if they don't do a great deal of damage. The point is what their secondary effects are. It can make a huge difference. Lockdown is one of them. It's not the best range, but obviously it'll help.
To put the effectiveness into perspective, I wasn't stopping the onslaught, and with one refit used with the tokens this raid, just by putting lockdowns in, it's stopping them. So if you have the right setup, it can be done very easily to stop the onslaught.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I must admit there are, Omni's in the right place, and Grey Seal turrets in the right place, and right factions and right traps and all that sort of stuff. It's that whole sort of like linked in sort of thing between the base and the base defense fleet, which is nice for a change because it was all about turrets before, and then it was all about ships, and now it seems to be a manifestation of both elements, which is good. Excellent. Right, so there we go. There's some rough ideas of, obviously, some sort of ideas of what you can put with what. I'm not saying that's what to build, but that gives you a bit of a hint. There's the timelines as well. 17 days. Obviously, that's completely blank. Nothing built on it and that sort of stuff. And those figures, obviously, that's an unranked ship as well. So it'll make a difference, obviously.
Mark, people who are still struggling with FM, even if they get this guy without charged armor, I think they could just cruise through a lot of the existing targets we have right now. I mean, as Brian said, there's no bonus for needing 4 of them. You can get 1 or 2 of them, and without charged armor, their build time's a lot lower. People could actually get a massive upgrade in their ability to do FM quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting. George is in chat in the online chat there as well. I did another build, but I didn't want to sort of slate it. But actually, if you do put using different engine system, there's another couple of specials you can pick up on, because it releases you the ability to use some other stuff as well. So it's and some people that didn't get up as far as the lock store and they can't get that thing last, but you can only get as far as the weapon. Don't fret about it too much, because I think they've got them in the right order. The weapon is there, but if you can just get the hull, like you say, if you've got the it's got the weapon from the icebreaker, you can actually go down a level of ship in obviously engine speed, because the other rocket's got the 5 the 5 engine speed booster on it as well. So you put 3 or 4 of those on, and all of a sudden these things will sing along quite nicely. So anyway, yeah, sorry, George, sharing your secrets. All right, mate. No secrets here, mate. This is a TFC. Right, that's what I've got. Sorry, slide-wise, which we don't normally do, but there's an awful lot going on at the moment. So just thought we'd have a few there. A few more minutes to go. So we'll go across the panel, see if anybody's got anything they want to pick up on, and so their voice is heard at least once anyway. So Brian, anything you want particularly to go on about? Now, last time it took 20 minutes, so keep it to 5 if you could.
I feel just as weak and helpless this raid as I did last raid, and I feel bad because this time it seems like they are intentionally making it. Done.
And the cuckoo clock as well, Ren. It must be
that was perfectly timed for Brian.
Your time's up.
Sorry, Mark. That was great.
That was brilliant.
It was not on purpose.
Perfect timing.
I like that. That was funny. Imri, what about you, mate?
I just have to say this cook was 85 years old, okay?
Brian's been crazy a long time.
So,
Imri, anything to bring up, mate?
How old Renato is?
Well, I've been busy using my hydras as usual.
Yes, you did come and visit me with your Hyperion and made mine look very daft.
That was another one of my projects. How did you like my visit?
Yeah, I thought my Hyperion was quite decent. It didn't even scratch yours. I was just like, yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
It didn't even dent it. I think I got like 4% off one of your modules, and that was it. And mine's like it's starting to get up into the 300s now. I was like, yeah, I've got a long way to go yet. But at least I've started, because it was sitting around the 100 and something rather. So at least I've doubled its number, which is good. But yeah, so you're having fun with your Mega.
What level is he?
It's pretty confusing, because I can do the last month's S targets on auto, no problem. I tried the current one. It came out with like 4 hours damage, and I was like, fuck that, I can just auto the rest. And then I looked into helping my alliance, and I go into any ASAP target, and I come out with like half an hour damage.
All right.
Last month, so I don't know.
Is it weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird. They're continuously messing with things. Like the autopilot keeps changing routes all the time. I've got one Hydra which doesn't have countermeasures, and it just runs in circles and it doesn't go ahead. There are all kinds of problems.
It is difficult, mate. I know. It's the randomness of this weekend has been slightly frustrating for a lot of people. Had it just been consistent all the way through, I would actually be in the camp of they've turned the damage up. But periodically it goes nuts, and then it seems to go back again and settle down for half an hour. It's just weird. Don't know what it is. Where's that deck that we made up before in the previous slide? You know, it's like the turntable, the radio producer's deck that's got all the sliders. It's like someone's playing with that. Someone's kids got loose on it, and it's just messing around with all the different statistics. I don't know what's going on. Unusual. Can't replicate it, and certainly can't stop it. But okie dokie. Hefe, anything particular about it? If he's still there, if he hasn't gone for a beer.
Beer.
He's gone for a beer, hasn't he? I know what he's like. He lays back in his chair and he goes to sleep. Okay, we'll pass him by. Mary, what about you, mate?
Was that me?
Oh, yeah, sorry. He's in. Hefe, go on. You go first. Anything you want to? Any contributions? Go
on. I guess a couple of things. Has anybody else done any testing associated with the road crews?
Not lately.
In this raid?
No.
They barely have any effect.
Yeah, the weird thing that we ran some Magic Mike, as you know him. He sent me a spreadsheet with 81, 83, 85 hits, 10 replicates, and how much damage he took on auto. And like, that's sort of interesting. It's highly variable. Could you go and hit some targets, hit some 81 targets with the steelheads on? And he hit a bunch of targets with those. He was taking 80% more damage with steelheads on than he was without a crew. And I don't know if it was a point in time where they decided to tweak the damage. I mean, this raid's been highly variable as far as the damage output that's been going on.
I was using steelheads and I stopped as well because it seemed to make it worse. I don't know why.
Yeah. There's something odd going on there. So I especially wouldn't waste your limited uranium putting crews on at this point because they potentially are causing the problem, or they're just tweaking the damage so much, or there's so much variability. And I think the variability is probably associated with the your countermeasures shooting down incoming missiles.
Yeah, agree
that it's making it very difficult for players to be, to see any consistency in changes in builds or methodologies because of that. So that was one concern. And I haven't, Ren, you usually put a thing around for participation. I mean, just from my own perspective, doesn't it seem way down? Usually with my level of effort, I'm somewhere around 3,000 globally, and now I'm like 400 in the 400s. I'm not sure if I'm doing something different, or has anybody else noticed something like that going on?
I'd have thought participation was up, considering our sector's like really buzzing. I have to say.
Okay.
Right. But I mean, that's just one sector, so I don't know.
I don't know. I still have points, like about 60 million points I need to get all I want.
Mm-hmm.
I was in 1,500, which is kind of consistent with past months. So I don't know.
There right now for 0 points, it's at 28,500.
So it's pretty much the same as the past few months, right?
There's one thing. This is definitely a raid for helpers. If you're fancying, you're in the mood for helping out people and that sort of stuff, and you happen to have the hydras, a lot of people can help people out.
I'm hoping to see participation actually going up next month, because all the folks who got the Buccaneers on that co-op TFC with like just a gunboat and somebody helping them should be able to play the raid next month to an extent. So I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking, but I'm kind of hoping to see participation going up.
That's wishful thinking.
Thanks.
My brother made $2, and they do worse in the level 60s than.
Oh yeah, no, $2 are worthless. I mean, I guess, but the thing is with the tokens and everything, if people got some tokens, people had $2 now. I'm thinking by March they're gonna have 4.
And they're gonna have very limited charged armors unless we see things, because I was surprised to see the rad charged armor in the lock store.
Yeah, but don't forget that campaign's coming back.
Something really important. I mean, that's the biggest problem I see in PV right now. It's like It's a great experience for people with charged armor, and it's impossible to even try for people without. I mean, people are dying in the 60s without charged armor.
Yeah, don't forget that Zoe's TLC's coming back, and that's going to be co-op, so we'll be able to help people get more charged armors.
Yeah.
No, because they need a proper fleet as well, which they don't.
Yeah,
Well,
they've given away the fleets that you need for a while.
Yeah,
They've been giving away the things.
And I don't think that's going to be the only options as well. There are going to be more options. So let's wait and see. That was a broken arrow as soon as it came out, wasn't it? To be honest, which was a shame. I think it was also pitched at the wrong level. But yeah, let's see what happens when it comes back, and let's see what else they bring in as well. Because that wasn't the only idea. There were other ideas as well. So there should be more things coming. Cool, thanks, Effie. I always have a good perspective on things. Mary, what about you, mate?
Well, I guess I was doing the Hydras den, and all I've got is 2 regular Hydras and the flagship. And they've only got 2 charged sea armors on them. They're unranked. They have no rad armor. And I was doing them for about 3 coin repair. Run for an hour, repair for an hour. If you started a fleet build, get at least 3 fully done before the next raid, whatever it is. The chances are, if you've got at least 2 of the same type of charged armor on, you can throw on another regular armor to make up the difference for what you don't have and do fairly well. Finish at least 3 of one fleet before you move on to the next one.
Yeah, I agree. I actually told my alliance that this weekend. I posted on my alliance page. I said, guys, look, before you go focusing on the, there's no point building 2 complete fleets now because we're getting halfway through. And if you're managing to get as far as the new, FM hull, and then you're doing well enough. So I've said to them, get halfway through a good fleet, at least have a flagship and 2 other ships, particularly on like the Hydras, and then focus on the core part of the game, which is the FM, and don't get lag behind there. And as an alliance, we're doing well. There's a lot of people who are helping out each other, and in the sector I'm in at the moment, there's a lot of people just on the main comms, offering up assistance as well and helping people out, because particularly with the Hydra fleet, you can go down a level or 2, and it's instant fix, so it's no real hardship. A lot of people have finished by now already, so it's doing all right.
There's a build going around at the moment. I know one of the guys in my alliance has it for the Ironclads, and he posted it on one of the pages. He was doing the 60 sets all day. He got 16 million points before he had to repair.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, there are a couple of good builds out there. I've seen a couple of people using Ironclads and getting very little damage. I was watching a few people in the sector I'm in, so there are some good ships out there. Ironclad is the perfect fleet if you got it built right for the 60s. It's absolutely, for a change, it's nice to see the lower end of the spectrum actually being capable to do the target. It was actually, the target's been designed for the ship. It's definitely not designed for the Bucky, because the Bucky takes more damage for some reason.
Yeah, so if anyone is concerned that they're not going to get the Bucky done, don't worry too much. If you've got Ironclads, you can get them refitted, so you can do. Yes, it's grindy, but you can do decent points in the raid.
Yeah, and expeditions, and go and get uranium and that sort of stuff. From dubs and things like that. So it's available. Peter, what about you, mate? Anything?
I'm actually doing fairly well this raid. Believe it or not, I've got 4 Buccaneers. Each one has 1 plate of the charged ballistic armor, and the rest is regular, like the D2 ballistic and the D2 radioactive.
Mm-hmm.
No countermeasures on them, but they can grind. I've ground my way through like a whole slew of 60 targets, and by the end of the day yesterday, I had the new hull and the new weapon, and I was halfway to getting the special. I got the special earlier today, so everything else is just gravy.
Hey, you're doing all right though. That's good.
Yeah.
And that's all on 60s.
Yeah, the only thing I'd caution people about with the 60s, I think I mentioned it earlier, there's a little cove in the 63 with the War Academy and 3 turrets near it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if a fleet's running on auto, it'll stop just outside weapons range of the War Academy, and it won't shoot at anything.
Ooh, that's annoying. Dead spot.
Yeah.
I wonder if they get confused. Because some of those like rocks and buildings, they have some pretty pretty wide berths to get around, don't they?
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Thanks, mate. Ren, what about you, buddy?
Easy raid. Primarily doing the Buccaneer campaign without even looking at the battle. I think I have about 50 of them done. Managed to do 3 or 4 of the Hydra's Den with my half-assed 4 Hydras.
Mm-hmm.
I put a video out showing that. I mean, it was really way better than I thought it could be. Prepped a few 80s for people on the map. Easy. I just wish Kixeye would just, even if they don't spawn the uranium, titanium targets, they could just unbubble all the dubs and draconian bases. So at least we can get some uranium, some base parts, Selling that pitiful amount of uranium that they do for 1.5 million points, it's just so ridiculous. It's just
I'm not touching it.
completely, I doubt that brings them any money, and it just pisses off players.
Yeah, I think it's terribly priced, I must admit, and I don't collect it. I haven't collected it. I've done everything I need, and I'm not even going near it just on principle because I don't want to have those statistics. I don't think it's priced right at all.
Yeah, man. I mean, if they were selling, like 100,000 uranium for 2 million points, but I think it's 15K, 25K. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with it. Cool. Okay, mate. Ron, what about you, mate?
Got to give Rin kudos on that build that he put there. I didn't have the flechette feeder on my Hydras, and I haven't. It made a world of difference. That fleet is actually fun to drive.
The Hydras are fun, aren't they? It's fast, isn't it? Much faster than I thought it'd be.
Well, and it's funny how speed makes things fun.
Yeah.
Cannoneers, as fast as they were fun to drive. As long as the ships start and stop when you press the button, you don't notice a little lag. They're a lot more fun.
Yeah, they're as fun as when, I must admit, now that we've got, because I've got all 4 plus the flagship, they do zip across the target, which is nice, and you can get away from the flaming rad damage pools. You can outrun those quite decently.
Well,
they're as fun as
Go ahead. Go on. The reload on the flechette feeders makes it really much more enjoyable. The thing that I noticed before was that without that on there, it took so long to kill a single turret, and you really didn't get much splash or anything else. But with that on there, it seems it just makes it more enjoyable.
Yeah, the flechette feeder and the HVR. And by the way, not my ideas. My fleet's pretty much a mishmash of Mark's fleet and George's fleet and Liam's fleet, and I just took elements from them. And people saying that it's a lot better to kill by raw projectile damage than look for shockwaves.
Yep.
So I didn't even look at the fusion special, that kind of thing that gives the supercharge. Forget about that. Just went for raw building damage, projectile speed, and reload.
Same here. I must admit, I was doing a load and I've just single shot in each turret. I went just for raw damage.
Yeah. But I stole it from you and Gordon, I guess.
Before the flechette feeder, it was difficult. With the flechette feeder, it makes a huge difference, and I saw that in your video. I didn't see it, necessarily anywhere else, but wherever it came from, it was a great idea.
Yeah, and I was so happy to see the half-assed ships doing the elite target, because now every time I manage to do one, even if I take 3 hours of damage, I don't care, because it's 7 million points.
Yeah.
Well,
you get a bonus of 4 million, so extra.
Exactly.
4 million. It was awesome.
Cool. Super. Excellent. Right. Hulsh, how about you, mate?
I'm doing good for this raid. I'm just to update there's still new people coming into the game, which is surprising me. They're just being contacted by friends and joining the game still, so it's nice to know.
Look at that little set of ships there.
More deception for the desire of officers, I feel.
Aren't they cute?
The only thing is that the research ships aren't showing the proper times, which I sent in a ticket, and they're looking at that now. So, because you would try and build a Marauder for an hour of time, and it actually is for 3.5 hour time. So, the display values of the research tech, I guess, whenever they reduced all the build times for it, is not applying right still. So.
Sorry, I'm mesmerized by those ships. How funny.
Hulsh, you're not out there sniping them, are you?
Yeah,
Maybe.
he's got some.
No.
He's got some socks in there.
Yeah.
The ghost crawler. Welcome to Battle Pirates.
It's
That's
really
cool.
a pain. Unless they know to do the campaigns, it's a real pain to get resources, though.
There is a way to do it. I've had 2 friends join. If they can get help, all they really need to do is jump into a level 40 FM target, and someone kill it for them, and they'll get full resources for the fleet, and just do that repeatedly, and they'll fill up pretty quick. You can also prep level 40s fairly easily with 1 Zelos, and they'll get the Punisher in 2 hits.
Yeah, I've just been doing the long shot campaign and the run, or not the run, the trench, the down the barrel. The first 2 campaigns that you get,
down the barrel.
The first level, you can, off of each one, the ships stand still, so you can just snipe them and get 500% resources on your little fleet. So it helps, but most people probably won't know to not complete the campaign and just abort it and redo it multiple times. Which,
if you do see any low levels out asking for help and resources, and the FM is available, I would say just put them in the FM, do a 40, and they'll fill up much faster than any other method that I've seen. Also, if you do see any low levels, just if you've got the spare time, 2 level 40s take you about 10 minutes. Get them the Punisher, get them to build that, and it'll help them a huge amount. Probably the best ship for the least amount of effort for anyone at the low level.
Well, especially they can get build tokens for it as well, which is good.
Yep.
Because you can get quite a bit and some VXP as well, so it's a win-win for that ship. You know, for if you're starting out and just getting into the FM, it is a good piece of advice, mate. Anything else, Venom, before I close off?
Yeah, Kixeye really need to update the beginning game sort of layout. Getting 5 mortars maximum as a gift from Kixeye is just stupid. They do very, very little. If they are going to do about it, they need to really look at the start of the game and sort of work it into the targets that we have now, rather than the way it is now, where it's sitting for targets in the past. So the stuff you have there are just really obsolete and don't do very much.
I just think, mate, in the campaign tower there, when you do those small beginning TLCs and that sort of stuff, and you've done down the barrel and all that sort of stuff, I think they just refresh the prize pack and give you, you know, the basic X, Y, and Z fleets, the Punisher fleet and that sort of stuff, the X, Y, to allow you to jump to the next piece of the game sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah, even if they ran a sort of a campaign for the start where it gives you a built version, or at least gives you all the tokens you need to build one, it would speed them up a tremendous amount.
Yeah, no, it would do. And I know they did say, you know, GDR was on the other day. He did say, well, the other day, it was 2 months ago now. But you know, he would try and get things back on track with the players that are in the game, and then he'll start introducing and looking at the enticements of bringing fresh, you know, brand new players into the game, not just those that are coming back that have left. But people are coming back, and people are starting to take an interest. So it's already having an effect, and it's only been like 60 days. So he can't wait too long, which I'm sure he's not. But or they, not him, but they can't wait too long because they don't want to miss their opportunity, as far as I'm concerned. We need people in the game. Everyone knows there are dead sectors out there. We're all clustering up into alliances. We're all clustering up into our favorite sort of sectors and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we definitely need some fresh meat. Yes, Mary, you're right. We need fresh meat. It is a pirate game. It's a attacking game as it is, you know. But we need to help bring people on as well, and that entices them in, gets them interested. Right, super. Has anybody else got anything that they want to just quickly close off with? As if not, we're going to call it a night.
I guess maybe, you know, touching on your topic of trying to entice players to, you know, start, is I see a lot of other games doing a whole lot more advertising than BP does, and it's like, don't we have a advertising team? Like that old video that they put on YouTube, what was it, like 2 years ago? It looked great. Why can't they do more, you know, as far as like promoting the game for new players to come in?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think it's hard enough to get them a series of targets right for one roll of a raid, you know, at the moment.
They need to fix all the things with starting the game first before they do all that.
The one thing I will say is I know that people that when they do the raid videos and stuff, they all basically have to stop what they're doing and then they go and concentrate on doing that and then they go back on and get back to what they were doing beforehand sort of stuff. So it's not a dedicated team, you know. Although they like having fun doing the videos, some of them. So, but yeah, it's all an in-house thing. So maybe they should invest some money and push them out. I don't know. Depends on what to play with, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, right. Okay. We'll call it quits there. We'll say thanks all for tuning in on the live chat there. It's been quite interesting. Ford's done his usual, answering lots of questions there and keeping people amused. Okay. And thanks all for coming online, the panel here. It's been good fun. I personally won't be here on Tuesday, so that'll be the post-raid roundup because I'm overseas for a week. So it'll be hosted by, I'm hoping, Liam. We will see how it goes. He did say he'd be here, so it should be his lead. If not, it'll be Ren. Okay, but we'll see how it goes. I will speak to you all next Saturday night, which will probably be VXP weekend. Is that right? More likely.
Should be.
Let's see how that goes. Let's see how we're going to rank up all these FM ships, as well as you know, finishing off any sort of raid ships that you might have just purchased. Or in fact, there's boulders as well in there as well. So there's all sorts of things to rank up for people that you know have just gone and collected a load of new stuff. So yeah, interesting times. Right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have fun. Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
Good night. Good luck.
Good night, everyone.